Hey friends, welcome. My name is Christy Rice. I'm obsessed with watercolor and flowers. My husband just had these delivered for our 24th wedding anniversary. And there is a coral charm peony. Can you see that baddie right there? And I'm feeling like painting a little realistic-ish. There's a caveat-ish. So I want to paint this realistic today, but accessible realistic for even beginners. And I'm going to walk you through it step by step. And I hope you'll join me. Let's do this. All right, so I'm going to be using, let's just go through supplies. I have in description that I was going to use my Sennelier. Can't find them. It's okay. I'm going to use the Saunders watercolor St. Cuthbert's Mill. And I think I have a painting. Yeah, I do have a painting in here. I did this at Mohonk Mountain House last year. We went for Labor Day weekend. So let's get this off the block. I do like how easily their paper comes off the block, but it doesn't like fall off the block, if you know what I mean. All right. Now, this is gonna hurt. Some of you are gonna gasp, but I am cutting the coral charm because we want to examine her. And honestly, she's on her way out. So I can't think of a better use of an almost donezo peony than let's get into it. Let's take a look at her and examine some of the places and the spots that we love about her so that we know what we want to focus on, right? Anyone else going to paint? Hello, sketches and scrubs. Woohoo. Now, friends, if you have a question as we are going through today, please put a few question marks in front of your question so that I can better see them. And then we have an amazing community here that may pop in and answer your questions. The conversations that are had in this community are pretty epic in the comment section. All right. So what I'm loving most about this beauty here is this leaf. Can you see? She's got the split down the middle. She's got this this is the coral. And I will say it's interesting. I don't know if I've ever paid so much attention to a coral charm, but she was much more coral when I got her. Her color is fading to this gorgeous, like buttery, kind of like a peachy loveliness. All right. Now I want to decide like what angle am I going to paint her? And I'm just going to do her. I'm not going to like do a whole composition because good heavens, we don't have time for that. All right. So grab yourself your favorite pencil. I'm going to go mechanical today. And the thing with mechanical pencils, I just use ones from like Five Below. You're getting what you get. It's usually like a 2B darkness, which isn't my favorite for roughing in, but I love mechanical so much that I'm just okay with it. I still haven't decided which angle. Like, because I love this rough, I think I've decided. I love the roughly center. And I love, like, look at this. What is that? It's like a little alien living inside this flower. You know what I mean? Like, they're so just lovely. All right, so I'm going to rough out these shapes. Yep, and I'm going to purposely really try to use a very light hand because obviously my pencil has the potential of getting super dark super fast. So I'm going to rough out. I always start with the center, almost always. And I'm going to try to establish like, okay, these rufflies are going to come out to about here, but they're going to come out different lengths, right? So I've got little dots in for the rufflies. Now, this is going to be hard to see. So you see that? That is my beginning. That is my beginning. Looks like the nose of a lion. Ooh, that's good. Yeah. Going to lurk. I'm happy that you're going to lurk. Can one be a decent-ish watercolorist when you can't draw to save your life? Absolutely. Absolutely. There is painting without sketching. And honestly, the vast majority of what I do is painting without sketching. Let me show you a few pieces that I just have at arm's reach. Okay, the vast majority of what I do is painting without sketching. This piece I did while traveling recently. Now I did sketching over top, but I started just painting. So I love that question. And I love that question today. And here's why. Because today is going to be tight. Today may feel overwhelming for some of you because it's going to be tighter. It's going to be, you know, getting that kind of realism ishness. Okay. But know that to be successful, you never have to learn how to draw. To feel joy from this, you never have to learn how to draw. Okay. But drawing for beginners, let's talk about it. Basic shapes. I've got a rough circle here. All right. Now, we're going to map out one of these petals. And I want you to, I'm going to work on this one right here. This one right here. And this petal is going to be our roadmap in a lot of ways for how we build the rest of this peony. Now, while I'm here, I'm going to make this a little more obvious of where I'm going with this and put in a few more marks. These are kind of like your lighthouse marks. They're the marks that guide you. And I'm going to also put in a couple of circles or even really ovals that are representing this like lion's nose. We're going to go with the lion's nose. You see what I did there? Couple of ovals, couple of circles. And I'm mimicking that. And I'm really drawing this from like a top-down view because the whole time I'll be painting here and drawing, I'm holding this in my hand and I am going top down. All right. And maybe even a few more circles, a few more ovals to get some more of that detail in there. If anybody wants to take a screenshot, take that one. That's going to be a good one for you. All right. How many dots? So I've got 4 larger and then 2 little ones. Or were you talking about these dots? These are just my guiding points where my little furries, these little guys will be, these little ruffly. So let's make them more of like the shape of what those will be. But again, this, okay, not again, because I haven't really brought this point home. All right. This is realistic-ish. I'm giving you the building blocks. I'm giving you the lighthouse moments to guide you. But I am not going to sit here. You're about to see. I am not going to sit here and sketch each one of these petals. All right. All right. Let's get ready for it. So we're going to map out one of these petals, and it's going to be our lighthouse. All right. I want you to see what I did. You see that shape? It's kind of bulbous in through the middle. You could easily draw a circle in there. And then it's kind of like a triangle here. And then another triangle here. That is really what you've got there. Okay. It's a great place to start. It is a great foundational shape that you are going to use again and again and again and around and around and around in different, slightly different ways to build this. Okay. I love that. Gina said she's been painting for 28 years and is just now learning to draw. Let that be a testament to you don't need to draw to be successful. All right. Now I'm going to go ahead and erase some of these extra lines that I made. All right. Now, a lot of these petals have sweet little folds, little curve overs. So we're going to go in here. We're just going to mimic the same silhouette as I did here. We're going to mimic it on either side, and they're all going to meet down here. So notice the taper. It's all about big circle shape capped with 2 kind of blunt edged triangles, and then this tapering mark on either side that comes and meets here. Keep that in mind. All of your petals are going to taper to some extent. Let's go ahead and draw another one over here. We're going to get 3 of them in, to really establish. Now let's think about it. Let's start a different way. I want one that's going to be a little longer than this one. So instead of a circle, it's going to be an oval to start. Can you see that? You see that oval? And then we're going to taper down. It's going to be more like a trapezoid, right? Trapezoid. I even want to go a little wider over here. All right. And then it's going to kind of be flat, much more flat across the top. All right. There you have it. Now we're going to refine it. Ready for it? And the flower's off to the side. I don't even need her right now. We're going to come in. We're going to put some nooks. We're going to put some weirdness, some crannies, some little cuts, because you know this peony, she's got little ins and outs, little notches, because she is imperfect. We're going to take some of these and kind of draw some lines against them, and that's going to create that curve. Do you see how I just took a line from here to here? And find where you could do it again. I could go here to here, and that's going to look like a curved petal. Do you see what I'm doing? I'm going to go ahead and I'm drawing darker here. And I'm going to go refine this one, and I'm going to go darker. I would not suggest you go this dark. I am going this dark just so you can better see how I'm refining the shape, how we go from the basics to the more characteristic, more personality filled shapes. I'm stopping and starting my lines. I'm not making continuous lines, because another thing I want to point out here is that in the end, my pencil lines are probably going to show. My pencil lines are probably going to show. Thank you, Sketches and Scrubs. I would love a boop. If you're enjoying this so far, you're not totally freaked out yet, I would love, love, love a boop. All right, I want to go down here. There is a very characteristic part of this peony. You see how there's a big break in these clusters. There's a big cluster up here, and there's a big cluster over here. And there's a break in between them right here. All right. That is very characteristic peony, and I want to get that in. Now, what I'm also seeing in my field of vision is this petal that is curving back pretty significantly, and you can even force her to curve more. Now, if you're working from a photo, do whatever you like. We're going to go ahead and get her in there. And I am noticing that when I squint, squinting is key. When I squint, I notice that she is about only a quarter of an inch. The top of this fold right here is only about a quarter of an inch away from the center. So there she is. It's going to curve back around, taper towards the middle. Everything tapers towards the middle. All right. I'm going to darken this up for you so you can really see what I did. And is it perfect? Nope. Do I see places where I could have gotten measurements even more perfect and more realistic? You bet your butt. Is it giving me the vibe I want, so I'm going to leave it alone? You bet your butt. Don't go crazy with the erasing. Don't get in an eraser loop. Doesn't help anybody. But there is that petal. How are we feeling, friends? How are we feeling? Is this nerve-wracking? Is this driving you nuts? Hello, JDX. Hello. So glad you're here. Hello. Thank you, Jazz. Thank you for the boop. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Elizabeth almost forgot the boop. Let me know what questions you have so far. Let me know what fears you have so far. Let me know, like, Christy, there's no way I can do this. If that's what's like coming up in your chest, like if that's the emotion that's just popping off, I want to hear about it. I want to hear about it. All right. So here is where it gets super fun. We are now going to just pop around a little bit. All right. We are not going to draw each little petal. Let's just examine the silhouette, just the edge. See here, here. Watch my finger here. All right. Let's stop looking at every individual petal. Here. That's my pencil. Don't look at that. I want to look at the silhouette. Let's take a moment breathe. Let's actually lay her down. And she's not perfectly even. So I'm going to hold her over here. But look at that silhouette. Let me cut her off together so that I can get her to sit for me. I'm trying not to lose any rufflies. All right, let's see if she lays. There we go. Beautiful. All right, let's look at the silhouette. There's our kind of separation of these two clusters. All right. Shorter distance to center, slightly shorter distance to center here. I exaggerated it because at the angle I was holding it in my hand, it was more obvious. But anyway, let's look at the silhouette. Follow my pencil. Follow, follow. We are going to build the silhouette now. We're going to build out that silhouette. I'm going to build out that silhouette with some tentative but mindful lines. And it's not going to follow this perfectly. This is where you're going to take liberties. This is where you're going to do you, boo. All right? All right, now here, I want my break. And here. Now, friends, if you're just thinking this is just beyond you, and you just want to get to the painting, that is where you want to be, that is where your happiness is. Well, good news. I am going to go ahead and do an outline sketch of this. And I'm going to go ahead and in the next few days, I'm going to provide that as a link and you can print it out if you'd like, because sometimes we just don't want to. That's not fun. The sketch isn't fun sometimes, and that's okay. And we feel that. All right. That is A-OK. So I'm going to make that possible for you to not have to worry about the sketching part. All right. Now, I just want you to look at what I did here. I want you to, now these are sticking out like sore thumbs. That makes sense at this stage. That makes sense. Okay. Now we're going to start to come out from the center and we're going to start to connect to some of those silhouette marks that we made. You see what I'm doing here? Did you just have an aha moment? Because I kind of hope you did. Let's make this a curved petal and let's bring it back. Let's bring it back. Let's just take a moment. Take a moment. Is it hyperrealism? No. Is it photorealism? Absolutely not. Is it natural? Does it feel alive? Do we know it's a peony? 100%. Oh, I love that. I love that. Jeanette says, I love your sketches to follow. And then you do your own sketch close, but not tracing. Such a good idea. So instead, if you don't want to print it out, you just want to follow the sketch, that can be just a great way to kind of ease the stress on your brain as well. Love that. Love. So I'm going to actually take a picture of this once the sketch is where I want it to be before I start painting. All right. So let's just talk about, again, what I did here. I did the silhouette, just did it bouncy and fun and loosey and goosey. And now I am following the general idea of these petals, this kind of tapered shape made from a circle or an oval and some rectangles, some triangles and trapezoids, okay? And I'm taking that and I'm connecting to some of these silhouette marks. And maybe I'm going to erase. Maybe I did something in the silhouette stage that now doesn't make sense, but that's fine. That's called editing. And maybe then I'm going to go back and be like, oh, is there something I can draw on from, like, see how there's a little cut in that petal right there? See, I want to add that. I want to get that in there. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to add that in. Oh, okay. And then I see that there's all these petals here that are like one on top of another, and it's just lovely. So I'm gonna do that here. I'm gonna add that here. I'm gonna do a little, And then I'm going to go like this and build one right on top of another. And then I'm going to go like this and build another one right on top of another. See that? And we are starting to build out this peony. And we're doing it in a way that is accessible. We're doing it in a way so our eyes don't cross from looking back up and down and up and down and back and forth and worrying about every little intersection and every little, you know where I'm at. You know where I'm at with this, don't you? Because you've been there, you've tried it. Every little intersection, every little angle overlapping. Because if one is off by a millimeter, by a hair, another one doesn't make sense. But when you give yourself agency to make some of these decisions and to elaborate on nature and to change nature, it becomes easier somehow. It becomes accessible somehow. All right, I'm feeling the need right now to go in and add some of these fluffy, florally things. And I'm not going to sketch each one in, all right? I just want to get some more in for my brain to be like, oh yeah, this is actually making sense. I thought it was making sense, but sometimes you need to tell your brain, in DDO, my friend, my brain, my lovely soul brain thing, it is making sense. And adding in these details can help that sometimes. Just have fun with it. Thank you, Sketches. Thank you. Watching now for technique and will paint later, says Cindy. My peonies are still in bud stage. Oh yeah, my peonies are in like tight bud. This is a bouquet that I got my husband for our anniversary. So yeah. Kathy says, I love seeing how you approach sketching. I do plenty of sketching in my notebook and this is helpful. I'm so glad. I'm glad. I definitely think about things differently. All right, so now we are going to take all of the lessons that we've learned here, right? We've established how to create this uber curled coming at you, like this is the curve, right? Petal. And then some of these open ones with very deep curves on the side, and then these more shallow, kind of just on the edge curves, right? Now, let's take a look at our peony. We know that the little tears, like look at that one here. Can you see that one? Little tears are so characteristic. So we're going to want to get some of those in. The curls, little curls. I'm trying to find the right angle for you. We're going to want to get some of those in. And last but certainly not least, the little ruffles, like these ruffled edges. And I'm going to show you how I do some of those. All right. I am going to ruffle here. Actually really like that area. I don't know if I want to ruffle there. So at this point, if you're wondering, is she just like fully rogue? You bet your butt I am. You bet your butt I am. I am fully rogue at this point and loving every minute of it. Okay. And I'm feeling like strengthening some of the moments here. Because remember, my style of quote realism has to do with pencil lines still being present to some extent. So I'm thinking ahead to that now. I want to create this like cavern here where the center comes out. I want it to feel sunken. So I'm adding like not shadows, just some scribbles. All right. Sketches and scrubs sketching. I don't know if she's sketching because she's moderating. She is moderating. And I'm so glad she's here. Thank you. Ooh, that's interesting. Okay. All right. All right. It's done with the noise. Okay. Let's put in some ruffles. Let me show you how. I mean, I don't have like a formula for this stuff, but I'm going to come up here. I love this area. There we go. Love how it's coming from the center. Ruffle, ruffle, ruffle into oblivion. All right. So I'm going to come up from the center and I'm going to ruffle, ruffle, ruffle. As I ruffle, I was curving ever so slightly towards this. All right. And then we know we want it to taper. So I'm going to come out here somewhere. And we can extend it. We can do even more ruffles. And then just bump it into something over here. And then, again, it just disappears into oblivion. Yes, this area looks a little flat now. But again, we're ignoring that stuff because we're gonna be adding so much shadow and layers and stuff that we're gonna be sculpting out these shapes even more. Another way to add ruffle is just to put some pencil marks in, like this, like curving, coming down from this top edge of the silhouette, curving. Bump it up a little bit, like bump up the shape, like come up a little higher than the silhouette. And there you have a really pretty ruffle. And you're building your peony now. You're using nature as inspiration, but you are building your peony now. And it's realistic because you have established these lighthouse points, these guiding light points that offer you freedom because you've established ways to kind of carve out shapes and to create the form that are repeatable not in a boring, formulaic style, but repeatable and easily editable. You now have agency. You have creative agency. All right. I want you to take that agency. Here's something I want to talk about. And I'm going to put this here right now while I talk about this, and I'm going to sketch it out. All right. I need a little scrap piece of paper. Okay. Are you with me? You here for it? I hope you are. Hey, and if you're from Watercolor Beginners and Beyond, can you just say, let's see, what do we want to say? We want to say watercolor. Just go ahead and say watercolor in comments if you're from the Watercolor Beginners and Beyond group. If this is your first, let us know. First watercolor or just first if you're not from the group. And I'm making it complicated now, so I'm going to shut up. All right. So, no room for perfection in art, right? Right. So again, we talked about agency, creative agency. And you might think, gosh, I didn't even consider that I could have agency, freedom with realism. But I say you absolutely 100% can, because as long as you're establishing lighthouse points to guide you. So let's call it lighthouse shapes, textures. And later on, we're going to see strokes, brush strokes. You can evolve them. You can evolve all of those to give you a natural look. So is it realism? Or is it just a natural vibe? I don't know, you tell me, but that is my approach. That is my approach. So maybe that'll be helpful to some that are like trying to wrap their brains around this. Yeah. All right. Let's look for more areas that we love, love, love. I love these little areas. Let me show you one where, can you see that? Yeah, right here. Where a leaf curls and then there's a shadow behind it from another leaf. A petal curls and then there's a shadow behind it from the petal underneath. And it creates this little notch, really obvious notch. So I'm going to put it here. And do I want to put one somewhere else? Let me find a spot. Maybe I add another little petal here and I put one here. Because we know these exist and we know why they exist. So why can't we just decide where to put some? Why can't we? We can. We can. Representativism. Ooh, lean. Love it when you're here. representativism. Representativism. Yeah. Dig it. Dig it. I dig it. Yeah. All right. I love that so much. Oh my gosh. Gina says, I traced a Donald Duck picture from my grandson's coloring book and I must make it into a painting. Oh my gosh. I love that because that's how I started when I was little. I was drawing. I started by tracing and then I was like, I can draw this. Garfield of all things. Garfield. Thrifty, that is a t-shirt. Let me ask you, Thrifty, do you have a name? Like do you have a name? Of course you have a name. I don't know what it is. I know it's not Thrifty. You just want us to keep calling you Thrifty because I'm okay with that too, but I don't want to be rude. I don't want to be rude. And let's see if I can actually remember it because I know Sketches told me her name and I've already forgot it. I forget my daughter's name, my son's name on certain days. So don't be offended. All right. Don't be offended. All right. I don't like this one. I'm going to take it out. And here's the thing. You also have the agency to backpedal on decisions you made. Okay. You have agency to do that. You do. Lean, yes, from Belgium. The Dutch part. Yes. Hello. Kingana, hello. Did I say that right? I hope I did. Okay. So let's get Charmer back here and let's continue to examine. Again, we are not drawing every nook, every cranny, every angle, every overlap. We are not doing it. I am not here for that. All right, I'm going to go in here. I talked about this little area here. You see that? Try to get the right angle so you can really see what's going on there. Yeah, you see that right there? I want to do that. I want to do that somewhere. I want to do that somewhere. It's like a little hook. All right, so let's hook. Let's hook. Hook. Kind of. Did I do it? Did I do it kind of right? I add a couple extra lines because remember, my style of realism is to let those lines show. Little hook. Hookish enough. Maybe you just erase this. You could leave it too. That could work too by leaving that line. So I guess too, my style of realism, representativism, is adding and subtracting. Adding and subtracting, which I do in my painting as well, as you'll see soon. All right. Do I want any more petals? I actually want to exaggerate this right here because of this. I want this separation. Actually, it's over here. Yeah, it's over here. I want this a little more exaggerated. So we're going to come down and we're going to exaggerate that. And we're going to add a fold. And how do you add a fold? You just add another line. That just became a fold. Did you see that happen right before your eyes? And then I don't like how pointy this is. So I'm going to go over here and make it less pointy. But it's fuller now. All right. Maybe add a few more in. Like there's some petals in there. Just cupping inside of one another. See that? See that? See that? So there's a song I've been listening to, and this isn't like me getting like Christian-y on you, even though I like Jesus is my Lord and Savior, and I have no problem saying that. But this is something, this is an idea that can apply to whatever your higher power is. And this is more of a metaphor that I wanted to talk about. So I've been listening to this song, Maverick City. Is it Maverick City? I don't know. Firm foundation. Okay. Christ is my firm foundation. All right. And there's this one line. All right. I might just have to sing it because it's the only way it sits and rests in my brain. Because, and he goes, I've still got joy in chaos. I've got peace that makes no sense. Something like that. I might have just like ad-libbed those words. I've still got joy in chaos. In chaos. Chaos. Spell it. Peace that makes no sense. Stop it, you have not sketches. Stop it, you have not. Ah! So let's talk about this as a metaphor for finding joy in watercolor, because I talk a lot about the difference between joy and happiness. All right. Joy is deep, happiness is surface. To me personally, that's how I think about it. Joy is present, or let's say joy is accessible regardless of circumstance. You can have joy in chaos. You can have joy in fear. You can have joy when you're unsure of where to put the next line. Right. You can have joy in that chaos because it's deeper. It rests in a place that is unshakable and untouchable. Whereas happiness is like, I'm happy today. The sun is shining. I got a new car. The new art supplies came from Amazon. I'm happy, 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 happy. To me, happy is fleeting. It comes, it goes, it undulates. Joy, 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 joy down in my heart. Yeah. Uh-huh. Joy is the soul, happiness is the heart. Okay, I love that too. Yes. Yes. Oh, it's a different song. Okay. Joy in Chaos by Holly Drill. Okay, well, I don't know. Maybe Maverick City stole that line because that's in their Firm Foundation song. That's so funny. Anywho, I loved that. Joy in chaos, peace that makes no sense. So here is what I want you to remember. And I did this by design. I paused and did a little like sermon apparently by design. I planned this today. I don't always plan things like that come out. But you're going to have peace that makes no sense when you're trying to sketch this. You know why? Because you've got your lighthouse moments, your shapes that you know are repeatable, and then you can edit them a little bit to make them personality filled. You've got textures, you get the ruffles you can add. You've got the little notches you know how to add. You've got piece that makes no sense because you've listened and figured out ways to carve out these shapes without having to freaking do the whole thing, all the angles, all the things, all the while. Because no, we're not doing that here. All right. Yeah, check out Firm Foundation. Christ is my firm foundation, the rock on which I stand when everything around me is shaking. Yeah, something like that. I always change the lyrics on songs that I love. I always change the lyrics. Yeah. Thrifty says, "Oh my goodness, so many good sayings popping up in the chat. I'm going to be a rich man with all these t-shirts." Ah, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Joy. There is joy from painting. Yes, Gina. Yes. So, but your joy comes, that unshakable joy that I talk about, that I've been talking about for years, right? It comes from structure. It comes from little hacks, little tricks. Use them. You're not cheating. Use them. All right. Let's get back in this area. And I'm going to be painting soon, y'all. Like real soon. Like just a few moments. Okay. Because we're ready. But I do want to pop in a leaf. And I'm going to pull this leaf off because it's the only leaf I have. But it's pretty indicative of a peony leaf. Well, obviously it's a peony leaf, but I pulled it off the peony, but it's small and it's kind of sad and broken. But we're going to add her in. We're going to just do 2 long teardrops that end in a point, 3 long. All right, we're going to do 3 long. We'll just start here, curve this one this way a little bit. All right. And we're going to do another one that goes up here. And they're wavy teardrops. I want you to make wavy teardrops. I might do another up here, coming out up here, bump it behind, but they're all ending in a point along this line. All right, now let's give them some curve. We're gonna draw a straight line here. We're gonna do a little center line that comes down there. All right, may adjust this a skosh. Wavy. Make your lines. I'm always like making a little wave, a little zhuzh in my lines. I am never trying to make a perfectly curved or perfectly straight line. Never. Because seriously, that doesn't exist. All right, we're going to come up and down and not go to the point. We're not going to go to the point with that little bump out. All right, and we're going to come down here with the center vein. All right, all right, all right. I need to connect this top part here because that's the thing we're going to notice. That's our lighthouse moment with trying to create kind of a realistic-ish peony leaf as they connect right here. All right, so let's go back here and try to connect this in a way that feels beautiful and good. And you may have to judge that a little, and now we can throw that away. We don't need her anymore. We got this. We got this, yo. We got this. All right, I'm going to come down here, another little one peeping behind just to give it a little oomph, a little visual strength, kind of like we might even need another one. We just want to hug this peony with a little bit of green. We're going to want that, trust me. Galaxy 10, happy early birthday. Yes. Oh. Yes, one can be addicted to painting, Anne. Indeed. Indeed, you can. All right, let's get into it. I've got my Winsor & Newton Professionals today because these are, when it comes to traditional watercolor personality, they hit the mark. Now, the thing is, we got to spray them. We got to spray them right good and let them sit a little bit. They're a little harder to re-wet than some of our like honey-based baddies and other things. Now, because this artist gets bored, I've also got my Roman schmalls. All right, because Mama gets bored. All right, so this is my little collection. And the reason I chose these as a good pairing with Winsor & Newton Professional Series is because they have sheerness. Now, there are some more opaque, obviously, but there is an inherent sheerness in the vast majority of what I have here. And we need that. You wouldn't want to use for a more realistic painting where you can have layers, lots of layers, right? You wouldn't want to use something like Kiritake, any kind of Japanese style watercolors. So I have recommended the Mozart's Japanese style watercolors in the past. You wouldn't want to use those. You're going to have a hard time layering. Okay. So you want something like Sennelier. You want something like Winsor & Newton Professional Series. You can do this with Cotman as well. You want something that is more sheer. So you can build, 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 build. Now, the opaque stuff, bring it in on the end with some linear detail, and we will talk about that. And we've got brushes. So I have chosen for myself my liner, my 000. So my Remember Joy, my Making Magic, the Art for Joy's Sake dagger, 1/4 inch. And then we have our Creative Rebel, the number 12 round. We have our 1/8 inch dagger, which is, oh my gosh, I can't read it. The You Do You. I always forget which one that is. I don't know why. And then I have your Find Your Weird, your number 6 cat's tongue. And I have the prototype for the redesigned number 1 cat's tongue, not the Joy Chaser. It's just a prototype. All right, friends, I'm going to get these brushes cleaned up, make sure there's nothing hanging out in them that shouldn't be. I've got my Izzy watercolor towel. I'm really getting into using this towel, and I can just wash it. I think it's actually just better for a lot of things, including the earth. All right, here we go. 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 Here I go again. Okay. What's my weakness? Paint. Okay, wow. I'm going to stop. Now, one of the reasons I tell you not to get an eraser loop is because it's going to leave behind residue from the eraser, believe it or not, and especially your fingers. So just a little tip, little tippy tip, spraying down the Romans. And we are going to start with the number 12. And we're going to go ahead and think about this base color. And I'm going to go yellow. I'm going to go sheer. I'm going to go yellow. And I'm just going to get some stuff in here. All right. When I say stuff in here, technically speaking, we're going wet on dry. We're going light. Yes, I'm going traditional. I'm going to bring in some brighter yellows. And y'all, I'm not going super hyper realism in terms of my color choices either. I'm going with my heart. And again, the realism moments are going to come from some of the details and the techniques that I am going to choose to use here. Now, feel free to grab some pinks at this stage. That's a little more red than I was hoping. And a little staining. I'm going to go with some opera. Some opera, opera, opera. And you're dabbing in. You started wet on dry, and you're very soon you're going to be wet on wet. All right, very soon. I did say Joy Chaser, although I'm not using Joy Chaser today, but the prototype for this cat's tongue, they just used a Joy Chaser. It's going to be the same body. So yeah. All right, and we're going to get in here a little now. Oh, this is dirty. Now, the one thing I will say, this is the time. If you paint like me and you've got dirty pans, this is the time to clean them up a bit. Now, I'm going in Naples, little Naples here, y'all, and I know that's got natural opacity. I'm really watering it down because it's got that velvetiness, that softness that I want in some areas, even in early stages. But notice how I'm not like panicking about white spaces. I'm leaving some behind, not many, but some. And I'm using a multitude of colors. All right, so let's see. All right, all right, all right, all right. Let's even get in the green. Let's go. Let's do it. Getting some more water on the brush and blending it down and out, shearing it out. We want to stay sheer. It's not a rule, but it's what I'm doing right now. You're going to see me break that rule probably soon-ish. And the rule being start with light washes and slowly build up intensity, slowly also build up detail. Light, big, loose washes, and then build up to tighter, more contrasty, detailed strokes is the general rule. And I am following that rule right now. Now, some of that green is going to run into some of that peachiness there, and I'm okay with it. I'm holding my brush further down, and I am just using the tip to kind of get into these tight areas. So I have a little more control. See how I'm holding that brush? See that? And then just turn it. You're almost perpendicular. Almost. All right. Got that washed in. Take a look. Is there anything you want to refine? I do. I don't know why I didn't touch any of this with color, but I didn't. So I'm going to add some in the yellow department. I don't want you to stress out by color selection because no matter how realistic I want to get, I am not going to sit here and call out colors because you can get this look. Now, notice something. I'm dabbing. Things are drying already, and I'm dabbing, starting even this early to just ease in a little texture. So no matter what palette you have, no matter what palette you have, you can do this. You can accomplish this. So you don't need me to call out colors. You just need to know, is it watered down? Is it not watered down? And is it yellow? All right, that's it. That's all you really need to know. Don't get stuck there. I'm pulling out some of that brightness that I added. Lift with a dry, clean brush and blot on your paper towel. Lift. And I always like to lift towards the color that I'm lifting out, right? You don't want to lift and carry it. Like I almost want to deposit some of the color I'm lifting into these areas out here. So I'm going and lifting in that direction. All right. Now, You have some dampness here. I know that the paper is still damp. So do I want to take that opportunity now? I think I do. So I'm going to call out a color. We've got Opera Rose, and whatever this yellow is. I'm going to mix it and you're going to get a gorgeous coral. All right. I want to get some of this in there because, I mean, hello, coral. All right. We're going to get some of it in there. This area is actually pretty dry. So I'm going to just lightly wash over in some areas. You could go over the whole, let's just go over the whole petal because you could do that too. I'm going to go over this whole curled petal here. Again, you're making decisions now based on the decisions that we're making now are primarily based on the drawing decisions that you made. So feel some ease in that. Your shadow decisions, everything we're going to start to be making all of those decisions based on our sketch. So for example, where a petal converges, where a petal tapers, where a petal meets a center, it's going to be a skosh darker. There's a lighthouse technique for you. We talked about lighthouse drawing techniques. Now we've got lighthouse or guiding light painting techniques. Paint and water. Paint and water. That's what's on my brush. Paint and water. What did I say? Oh, I know what you're saying. I know what she's saying. Paint and water is on my brush. You don't need to know exactly what color I'm using to get this, to feel this, to have a wonderful time with this. You just don't. All right, I'm going back to Opera. Again, I'm calling out this color. I'm just like contradicting myself like ridiculously. I'm calling out this color because it is a very specific color in that it is extremely bright. So you want your brightest pink. All right? And just get some of that in there because look. Let's look. What's behind there? That's giving me opera. Look at that. That's giving me opera. Okay. Do I want opera? Yeah, I want a little opera. And I've got a little less water on my brush right now. I'm getting a little detail in there because that feels good. Feels good at this point to get a little detail in there, doesn't it? Doesn't it? It does. Hey friends, if you have any questions, hit me up. Ask me. Are you confused? Are you struggling? Are you feeling like there's no way I'm gonna rewatch this? I'm gonna try it, but oh my gosh, what about this? What about that? What about this? What about that? Get those questions coming. I'm gonna put this brush down and I'm gonna show you a way that I break the rules so hard usually at this stage of a painting. And I do it because it 100% of the time, I'm going to go with 100% of the time because I feel it this strongly. It gives me so much confidence. All right. Now I want you to make sure that the area next to your leaves is pretty dry. And it is. If you want to test, you tap up, straight and down. Don't rub because if it's wet and you rub, you know, up and down. It's just ever so slightly damp. So we can do this. I'm going to take my cat's tongue. Anything with a good point, number 2 round would be fantastic. And you're going to pick the green of your dreams. I'm going to go into this cobalt turquoise, or at least that's what I think it is. A little bit of blue, whatever. And here I am calling out color names again. All right. I'm going to go right where, I'm going to lift this up a little. There we go. I'm going to go right where the leaf meets this beautiful, because we all know, I've talked about this, friends, how much I love this area where there was a separation of clusters, right? Let's just, for reference, actually, this bad boy's been open. Look at how much she's changed since I can't even find that separate. Oh, there she is, I think, but it's changed so much since I cut her. Anyway, we're on our own. You're going to go where that notch is, and you're going to add some really intense color. And you're going to just carve out some areas. Now, get some water on your brush. You ready for this? Get some water on your brush and then get a little more color on your brush. I'm going to go with a little blue. I'm going to go right next door. I didn't have enough water on my brush. Now just water. And we're going to blend it out. We're going to blend it out. My voice is getting calmer because this is so meditative. We're going to blend it out. blend, blend. All right, look at that. And this is your lighthouse technique. You can even go darker at this point. A little bit of purple from my Roman schmal. Go darker right at that contact point. Is this helpful? Is this making sense? Give me a yes if it is like an aha. If it's like an aha moment, yes. Give me a yes. If it's like a I think so, give a ah, like an A-H-H, okay? So if you're having a full-blown aha moment here with this technique, say yes. All right? And look at that dimension it's giving you. Look at that. Denise, Nessa, I see yeses. Yeah, Lean, I do buy Bauhung on Temu. I'm very selective with my Temu shopping. I have a whole video about it as to why. All right, I'm glad to see some aha moments here. I am glad to see it. Yes, woo. All right. Hey, Denise, were you here when I was singing Firm Foundation? Were you here? Denise is my Bruges friend, and I met her in Bruges. That's why I called her my Bruges friend. And yeah, she sings, she paints. Hey, sister, soul sister. Oh, my Lord. Oh, my Lord. I'm feeling it. Supplements kicked in. My energy supplements. Mm-hmm. 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 Denise. Thanks. Denise was such a support to me. I led a song at church this past weekend. Only the second time I've led. And she prayed for me and she gave me support because she's a worship leader, right, Denise? You're a worship leader. And it was just such a help to me. I'm so grateful. So grateful for our little friendship that's budding. All right, I'm going in. I'm about to get jiggy with it. And here is why. Jiggy meaning let's break a rule. Let's push that rule right off the paper. Let's just push it. I've got a purple. My green is pretty dry and I'm going to let the paint run out and lift. I'm pressing, dragging, and then I lifted. All right, quickly rinse and then go right next door and blend. I got a dark color in here early, because I like life. And I like it when life feels good. I'm going with my bright pink. I'm getting crazy, y'all. And this is where I'm about to prove to you, well, it's going to come a little later. I'm going to prove to you that you can make crazy decisions like this and still have a realistic piece. Grab your favorite green. Get it. Go get it. Now everything's kind of damp in this area. Get it. But don't push it around too much. Blend it down, little dirty water on your brush. Blendy, 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 blend. Edit the tip of that leaf with a little bit of color on your brush, meaning make it more pointy because that just looks elegant. Doesn't that? Barely any pressure. My hand is shaking a little. I'm going with it. Rinsing my brush off screen. And I'm going to finish this crazy with a little blending up. My brush is just damp. I'm going to blend it back up. Do you see? Do you see? Now, I'm going to add, this is your time. The wet page is an opportunity. Dab in some yellow, because why not? Then let's do some positive lifting. And friends, this is also a way, hyperfixate at this point. That hyperfixation at this early stage, if you're feeling anxiety about this area, go hyperfixate and have some fun. Blow off some creative steam. Little positive lifting, meaning I'm not lifting to correct an error. I'm lifting to reveal magic right now. Blendy, 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 because that got weird over there. Blend it away. Blend it, hyperfixate for a while. Hyperfixate for a while. I'm going to blend this out so I don't get this hard edge. And I'm just going back and forth between two palettes. I've got Roman Schmal and I've got Winsor & Newton Professional Series. And I'm just bouncing around, bouncing. You could do this with your Art for Joy's Sake palette so easily. You could do this But I will tell you this, our For Joy's Sake palette has a lot of opaque in it. And if you're like, what are you talking about? It's the palette I designed, this baddie that I use more than anything, just because I'm still obsessed with it. Forgive me. But it's got a lot more opaque in it. So you have to really water things down in the early stages, or it can be a little tricky to glaze or layer. Let's talk about glazing. I am hyper fixating with some more dark color here coming up around this petal. And then I'm going to get some water off camera and blend just a skosh. I don't even think I need to blend that much. Do you see what's happening? It's fun. It's fun. It's dark. It's a broken rule resulting in pure joy. Mm-hmm. All right, friends, how are we feeling? Let's get into comments. Let me know. Replay friends, how are you feeling? Get into the conversation. Get into the conversation. All right, so now I'm going to hyperfixate somewhere else. And that's really the pattern of this realistic-ish approach. You're going to just now hyperfixate in different places, in smaller places. And I'm going to continue using this. This is my current hyperfixation brush. You know how you see like on the internet people have hyperfixation meals where they just keep eating it? I have those too. But this is my brush in that vein. All right. So we're going to take a looky-loo here. I think I'm gonna go to the center. No, I'm gonna do some petals. All right, let's build up some depth. I'm gonna start at the center, this little peachiness. And I'm gonna go right next to the center where the center and the petal meet. And where that point is, I'm going to put the most intense color, meaning not a lot of water, lots of paint. And then I'm gonna rinse my brush and keep it damp and blend it out a little. All right. And we're going to do that in a couple of spots. We're going to do that in a couple of spots, and we're going to change up the color that we use to do that. I'm going to go pink. I'm actually going to dab some pink right into where I just was because it's wet and it's an opportunity. Take it. I'm so close to the paper right now. I might have to take my glasses off. I'm going with this because it's creating like a corally vibe and I'm digging it. All right, let's go up here where that center. Now we have to remember we have this stuff, right? And I'm probably going to end up putting that in with something opaque towards the end. All right. When you are making strokes, so I just added some of that corally pinkiness. I'm going to add some more, and I'm going to make this point a little more obvious for us, okay? Because I'm working on this petal essentially, where this petal, you see that petal, meets the center. All right. So when you're rinsing your brush, you're bringing it back, that damp brush back up. When you blend out, try to blend with the silhouette. Try to blend with the shape of the silhouette because you will get some interesting textures potentially. All right. It's a safe bet to always blend with the silhouette. I did not plan that. That just came out my mouth. Elizabeth has a question about gouache. Elizabeth, if you're dying to try gouache, and you've never tried it before, here's a suggestive option. Jelly gouache can be a good entry, in my opinion, to gouache. Jelly gouache is a little tougher when you've already tried tube gouache to go back to it. And jelly gouache is so affordable. That's why I like to make that recommendation suggestion. Yeah. So I absolutely would be a proponent of the Hemi. If anybody else has jelly gouaches that they love, because it's just weird when you go from tube to jelly. It feels different. But when you go from jelly gouache to tube, you actually feel like, ooh, this is different. This is fun, but everything still feels good, if that makes sense. Whereas the opposite, not so true. There was a learning curve going from tube to jelly gouache. Anywho. But friends, help her out, get some comments going. Everything's still damp here, so I'm going to intensify that bright pink a little bit. It's reading a little more red on camera, but rest assured, this is just a full-blown opera pink situation in a damp area. All right. Okay, let's go hyperfixate somewhere else and keep building, 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 building. I'm going to go yellow, kind of 50-50%. I don't want to go too strong. You don't have to go too strong to get that effect. Now, look at what I'm doing here. I'm going to go a little bit brighter so you can really see what I'm doing, because it's interesting. It's another way to sculpt. It's another way to build dimension and texture at the same time. So I've got my darker color, and I am putting it right next door to that center, the lion's nose, as someone called it earlier. And then I'm pushing up and out, and I'm creating some lines, because we all know this peony's got so much going on. Rinsing, and then just going over it lightly. So some of those lines, little ghost-like areas of those lines I made, stay. You've got subtle, like look at that, subtle texture. Powerful, powerful stuff. Now that went outside the lines. I'm just going to blend, soften that transition. Nothing wrong with that. How are we feeling, friends? I need to get an idea. How are we feeling? Jazz says, this is so interesting. I would never have thought about painting like this. That is true. Himi Jelly lowered barrier to entry and let me learn without worrying about the cost. I love that. I love that. Yes. Two paints are better. Yes. Love it. Friends, make sure you subscribe to Sketches and Scrubs. So much value over there. So a hint lean with gouache and Sketches and Scrubs. Let's see if you agree, but a hint with gouache is to start the application at the beginning. I find should be thinner and more sheer, and you build up the thickness. Yeah. So those under layers, those first layers, they dry quickly and you don't get that slidey kind of gloppiness. Yeah. So just a little tip. I am not a gouache expert by any means. All right. For right now, I'm going to stay away from the center. This is another tip, friends. Hyperfixate, but know when to pull back. Because if I keep hyperfixating here, I might lose some of my value, my highs and my lows. And I don't think I want to yet. So I'm going to go hyperfixate in the middle, the middleness. All right, let's do it. I'm going right here underneath this beautiful curved area. And I'm going to, now, do you always have to have super intense color when you add this shadow stroke, these shadow strokes? No, it can be lighter. You can build up this more slowly and then blend with your clean brush, and then just scrub it up towards that, to that center. And we got a little bit of definition, little bit. And yeah, some of these areas still feel flat. They're gonna probably feel flat until I add the stamens in. Just know that you're in the middle. You're in the middle. We're not even in the middle. We're probably in like the, I don't know, the third, the first part of the first third. I don't know. Okay, Sketches starts with a thin layer with gouache. Let it dry and then add thicker layer, etc., etc. Yeah. Yeah, my gouache paintings, I did that live. I'll try to link that below, where I did the kind of Hobbit scene. And that, I mean, that was, I was following Ruth's, is it Wilshaw? Ruth Wilshaw's, hope I have that name correctly, her tutorial. And, you know, there were like 5 or 6 layers on that baddie, and each layer got thicker and thicker. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Don't worry about YouTube hating on jelly gouache. A lot of people don't like jelly gouache, but for the reason I stated, I didn't like it at first either. I actually hated it. But I've since gone back to it, and there's so much value in it. And honestly, Five Below has a set of 6 jelly gouache. Not too shabby. So if you really want to enter this space, this gouache space in an affordable way, I'd say hit it. Hit it, Five Below. Hit it. and just really push, like make sure your layers start really thin and build up. All right, keep questions coming, friends, and I'm gonna go find another spot to hyperfixate. I want to add some something here, and I'm gonna go just got a little bit of this, got a little bit of this, a little bit, and I'm just gonna brighten a little bit here, and I don't even need to blend this out with water. I can just dry brush it out and give that petal some texture. I am gonna grab clean water though, and maybe lift. I'm gonna put some, yeah, let's put a puddle on here and lift. I want this to be a little more luminous. So let's talk about this stage that we're at. We've got our sketch established. Maybe you're working, maybe you're on replay and you're working from the download that I provided. You've got all that fear out of the way, right? Push some of this away. You have your basic techniques of going in at intersections and hyperfixating in small doses. Friends, hear me. Lean into it. Lean into it now. Lean into it and just enjoy. Just keep repeating what you know works and enjoy. Now this is more of a staining color here. It's not going to lift out great. Where is my, need a little bit of paper towel. Please don't knock over all those brushes, Christy Rice. And we're going to see how much of this we can get out. We got out some. We're going to go, but I want you to lean into it now. You're in the beautiful stage. You're in a beautiful stage where you've got your arsenal of skills. You've got your mindset arsenal. Lean into it. And you might be thinking, well, where do I put texture? Where do I put lines? Where do I put big washes? Don't worry about it. Do all washes at this point. Don't worry about texture if you don't want to. Don't worry about it. Seriously, like don't worry about it. All right? You hear me? You feel me? Say feel me. Go ahead, comments, tell me. Feel me. Feel you. Whatever. Say it. I just want you to, I want to know that you heard all that because it's important. All right, a little bit of bright pink. Sometimes I will just mimic a line, but with a thicker stroke. See what I just did there? This pencil line, see it? Bump, bump, bump. I mimicked that, but made it a brush stroke. That's it. That's a great little trick. Great little trick. Let's see if I can find a place I want to do that somewhere else. Yep, right here. We're going to do it right here. And we're going to just do it with yellow. And we're going to just bump, bump, bump. It's subtle, but oof, can be so powerful. All right, I feel my eye is right here. This is a great point, friends, to stand up. Stand up. I see it. Feel you. Thank you. Karen. Woo! Jazz, Angie, Jennifer, Cheryl, you feeling me? You feeling me? I'm glad for it. Friends, I want to give another shout out to Watercolor Beginners and Beyond. It's a fantastic group on Facebook. And it is just what it says it is, Beginners and Beyond. It's a huge group filled with all different skill levels. It's fantastic. Diane Zimmerman is the owner of that group, and she does such amazing things to support beginners and beyond. Cheeky. I'm being cheeky. I'm just doing a bright yellow here. And this is another technique for moving color. Clean water above where you just had that color and just bump into it. And that's a great way to blend. Yeah. It's a great way to blend if you want to be careful not to drag too much of that color here up into here and keep this area nice and light. All right. So please, if you're not already in that Facebook group, I highly recommend it. It's a very drama-less kind of area. There's other watercolor groups that I have been in that have been kind of like, oh, lots of infighting. And I don't like that. I don't got time for that. So I just can't say enough good things about it. I appreciate Diane so much. She shared this live with the group just last night. I just messaged her. I'm like, hey, I'm doing this live. I just scheduled it. I think it might really help some folks in your group. Would you mind sharing it? And she's like, sure, no problem. You know what I mean? And so always so grateful for her, and they have great challenges, tons of giveaways. I'm a sponsor of some of those giveaways, so definitely go check out that group. I'm gonna have the link down in the description for you. And yeah, hit it. All right. Oh yeah. Gildan says there's a couple I avoid because of the negative Nellies. Yes. Yeah, Gina says I put my stamens in with the gouache now. It's done. Thank you so much for this live. Oh, good. Yes. So this is a great point. There is enough here. Tell me if you agree with what I'm about to say. There is enough here that you could go in with some gouache, put in the lighter stamens, and it could be done, and it's realistic. Say agree if you agree, or not there if you're like, no, I need more. Let me know. Do you agree? Or are you not there yet? Let me know. So friends, I am going to provide, I mentioned, and if you're watching on replay, it's already down there, a link to the sketch. I'm going to redo this sketch so that you can have it if you want to work from it. Or if you're just feeling like right now, like just take a picture of the screen right now, right? Or just rewind and take a picture of the screen as it was before I started painting, right? But obviously I'm not going to finish this today, but I am going to go ahead and finish this next month for June's Patreon for our Joy by Design tier. I am going to finish this baddie, and I'm going to evolve it to the point that it's got a lot more depth and a lot more going on. So if you're ever curious about Patreon, we have a 7-day free trial. You can sign up completely free. I do believe they ask you to put your credit card in. But then you just set a timer in your calendar for like, the 7 days from when you signed up, and just go and cancel it if you don't feel like moving on with it. I do that all the time with Patreons. I think it's so fun. But well, I'm signed up for a lot of Patreons because I like them. But anywho, so sign up for that. It'll be mid-June. So you just want to keep an eye out on Instagram. I'll announce it, and you could sign up for the free trial at the perfect time and then get access to me finishing and really building this up more than I'll be able to today on Patreon. So, all right. I'm going to take a really bright red. Really bright red. Let me get my flower here. All right. Really bright red. I'm going to put in a few little notches with just the tip, little notches, just a few little oomph. All right. A little bit down here, little here. I'm in the dry brush zone right now. All right. I'm in the dry brush zone. All right. All right. All right. All right. All right. I also want to get a haze of green in the center because there is just this haze. So I'm just going with a little bit of that on my palette with a clean brush and dry brush. Scrub up, scrub down, little bit of dry brush, little bit of haze of green. That's all we need. Done. Done. All right. Another thing you can do, I want this to start to feel more like it's curling, like the whole thing is curling. So I'm going to go up on this edge. Here's a lighthouse technique. Okay. I think I just came up with something. I've never talked about this lighthouse technique. It just came to me. And that's how all of my best, like little sayings that I do come to me. They just come from like being in the moment and figuring out a way to say it that makes sense. Isn't that fun? All right. Yellow. Got a little bit of like, it's almost peach. So there's like yellow and a little bit of like a pink, a magenta, or an opera. There we go. All right, load up that brush. I'm going to go up here. Make sure careful where I'm putting my hand. All right, I'm going to go up to this silhouette, and I'm going to deposit some of this. So this is kind of the opposite. I am not going where anything intersects, but trust me. Trust me. A little bit of pink, a little bit of coral that was just left on the palette, more intense. And I'm going along the silhouette. I'm going to make some areas thicker as I go along. I might even get a little bit of bright red, not rinsing my brush. A little bit of bright, a bit of bright. That really didn't pop like I thought it would. A little bit of pink. All right. All right. Now, you're like, Christy, what in the what? Get a bigger brush, whatever you got. Grab your next biggest brush. Don't worry about it. Fill it with water. All right. And we're going to go underneath, and we are going to do ombre or pulling. I'm gonna go right underneath and we're gonna pull some of that color down. We're gonna ombre, little ombre. Now rinse your brush. Don't want to deposit any more color down here. You really just want all that color to stay on that silhouette. And you're gonna start to see a curve kind of vibe happen. All right, just a little trick, little tricky trick. All right. How we feeling? How we feeling? Let's see. I thought I was done, says Gina, but I mixed a light green and added it to my flower. It looks awesome. Gina, are you on Instagram? Friends, if you want to share anything that you're working on or you want to ask me questions, hit me up on Instagram. After these lives, I always head to Instagram and just like decompress a little. So it's a great time to catch me. And I gotta say, I respond or react to all the DMs I get. I may not always like respond with words, but I always react. Oh, I love peonies. I'm with you, Nessa. I'm with you. Jazz, did you have a question? Did you have a question? Did I miss it? Can you ask it again? I see a question mark and then I see 2 exclamation points. I'm sorry if I missed it. All right, I'm gonna do a little more leaf work. Just honestly, it's probably just gonna be like a stroke. A little bit of, yeah, I'm literally, watch what I'm doing. Don't scream. Blah, 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 blah. I'm doing that. All right. And I want to go down here. I want brightness. I want a punch. And I'm filling this whole little leaf with that bright, very opaque mass tone. And I'm letting it be a way to edit the petal as well that's above it. I'm going to add a little bit of that here. I want you to see the way the light hits it so you can see that it's not like it's not dingy. It's just everything's reading more dingy on the camera today. I don't know why. Promise you it's not dingy. Now I'm going to take that mix of yellow and turquoise and I'm going to hit it here a little bit, little dry brush. This is where you can start to take some even more liberties because you don't have to apply this same technique everywhere to get that realism. You've got the heart and soul of the realism you need. You can get more abstract in areas. Dry brush, right? Mass tone, all the things. See how that light's hitting it? It's not dingy, I promise. It is not sunny out today, so that's part of the reason the light looks like it does. Oh, so Kelly, I don't know. Okay, so my Izzy cloth. Um, check out Izzy Watercolors on Instagram. I met with her while I was in Delft and we did a little recording for an upcoming video. We also discussed a pretty involved collaboration. And she gifted me a whole box of goodies and her mom made this. So I don't know if she's selling them, but Izzy, I think you need to sell them. Maybe her mom needs to make them for me. And when she ships over, oh, I just spilled the tea. When she ships over some of the goodies we're working on for our holiday launch, maybe she can ship over some of these. Aren't they cute? I love it. And actually, can we just look at how beautiful this is? Like, I almost just want to let this dry and then like make a pouch out of it and then just start a new one. Instead of washing them, just make stuff out of them. Because like, look at how beautiful with the pattern underneath. Like I can't even, it's gorgeous. Right? I know someone needs to make them and sell them. My mom knows how to sew. Maybe she would make them for me. But yeah, Izzy's mom made this and I cherish it. All right. If you want to know more about that collaboration, you could head to Instagram. It's pretty epic. It's with Izzy and Caitlin Bongers. You can follow Caitlin. I hope I'm pronouncing that right on Instagram. And it's literally just Caitlin Bongers. And it's Caitlin, Caitlin. And yeah. So, all right. So I want to add a little bit of linear detail just to let you know how that can impact the realism factor. So let's go back in and talk about where I'm going to choose to add it. If you look close at these petals, I'm going to pull an under petal. Don't hate me because I'm wild. But let's pull an under petal. Let's see if you can see that. I want you to examine that. Let me get that to focus. Are you going to focus? I guess you can kind of see it there. You see these striations? I want to add some of those. I'm going to add some of those. Let me see if I can. I'm going to just tear this so it'll lay flat. And then maybe you can see those striations even better. All right. Let's get it. Let's hit it. Make sure your brush is clean. And I got like a coral that I mixed like years ago, apparently, over here. A little water on my brush. Using the liner. It's a synthetic liner. So it's going to give you more control. This is the Remember Joy brush from my Art for Joy's Sake brush collections. All supplies are going to be down below in the description. Now, this is a big open area here. I want to give it a little more definition. And this is, remember, this is that split I was in love with. That split. That is like the iconic spot for me. And I want to give this a little more oomph. So I'm going to start here. And I'm going to, with a loose hand, I'm using my arm more than my wrist. I'm staying loose and I'm going outside the lines. And I'm just having a good old glory time here. A little bit of waviness. And here, liberties, agency. This is creative agency at its finest because that is adding realism. Do you think that's adding realism? Say yes if you do, but it's abstract at the same time. And it's freedom at the same time. And it's less stressful of a technique at the same time. If you agree, you think this might work for you, say yes. Say yes. Jennifer has a question. Where'd it go? In the Joy by Design group in June, do you have to complete today's session? It would be better if you did. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So what I'm going to do for those, that are in our group already on Patreon that maybe didn't catch this, when I schedule that, I'm going to share this live and say like, hey, to prepare for this month's paint along, watch this and get this painted. Yeah. Yeah. I think it'll be really fun. Yes. Heidi says, you got to see what Heidi says. Heidi says, yes, these fine curves define the bend in the petal. That's what I thought. Well said. All right, let's find another spot where a little bit of that might, yeah. Now, this petal is bothering me because I did draw it darker so you could see it. So it's all your fault. I'm kidding. Because she's like popping out too much. I don't know what it is. So I want to soften that. So I'm going to start up here and I'm going to come down. And I'm just wavy marks and I'm going to come down. I'm going to grab some coral instead of just yellow. And I'm going to start up here. And maybe I won't come all the way down. Maybe I won't. Right? Let the paint run out. Just some softness. That's enough. I'm going to back out of there. I like that though. I'm there for it. I like it. I might do some of like this. Not pencil areas, but drawn in paint areas. That's going to soften things. That's going to add more realism. We know that ruffle is a strong visual on a peony. So let's add in some hand drawn with watercolor brush ruffles. All right, I'm going to stop there. You feel me? Are you feeling me? This is realism. This is beginner friendly realism that you can just take it and run with it. You can run in so many places with this. You can run. You can fly. I still got joy in chaos, right? Joy in chaos. I've got peace that makes no sense. Right here. I've got peace that makes no sense because you've made some sense of these crazy chaotic areas in this painting. That petal, she fell off, but she's so pretty. All right, the other thing I want to do is just grab really bold, but not like fluorescent yellow. And I'm still using, actually, I'm going to switch to my 000. I'm going to get my 000. I'm going to get this just kind of like a medium yellow. And I'm going to go fill in these little bits that I drew in. All the ones that I drew in, I'm going to perfectly fill them in. I think there's something to be said for a contrast between really perfectly, solidly filled in areas in a painting, contrasted with areas that are very breezy, washy, undulating from light to dark. I love that contrast. All right. See that? I'm going to take a photo of this. I wish you could see the light hitting it. So dingy on camera right now. I don't know what. Oh, there we go. You see that? Yeah. It's going to be a little dingier because of the pencil lines, but that's just my style. One thing you could do if you're working on this on replay, and I'm going to go ahead and put that in the first comment so people see it, is before you start painting, just take a regular eraser or a kneaded eraser and lighten up your pencil lines. Lighten them up to the point that maybe they'll disappear if you don't like this strong pencil line look. All right. Okay, Elizabeth has a question. She said, how do we get over the fear of messing up a painting, especially if it's going well? If it's going well, I want you to take a break. If you are having that feeling, if you were having that feeling strong, where like you're almost feeling it in your throat and in the top of your, like at your collarbone, that's where I feel that feeling sometimes. I want you to take a break. I want you to get up. I want you to breathe. I want you to do work on another painting. Just want you to get up. That's the best cure for that. And just come back to it. Trust me. Best cure for that. Just give it a moment. Yeah. But that's a valid, real concern, and it happens to me all the time. Lean says my pencil sketch ended up being line art after a way too heavy first and only layer of watercolor. Hey, look at what you learned though. Jazz has a question. Is it important to let white from the paper be visible? I think it can be really important to have a little bit of white showing through in this kind of taking creative agency approach to realisticness ish. Okay, that was a mouthful, because it adds a sparkle, it adds like a lightness and brightness that you may need because number one, you hyper focused and got really dark in an area. Number two, maybe because you have dark pencil lines. There can be a lot of reasons in this kind of approach that you might need the lightness and brightness. Now you can always come in and add it with a gouache later on if you need to bring some sparkle back. But yeah, I like to have some of the white of the paper in this style. Like especially look at this area. Like I actually really want to maintain that because I think that's a really powerful area there. Yeah. Sketches says personal preference, Jazz, but it can let the painting breathe a bit. Yeah, it can start to feel really heavy and intense, and sometimes I want that. But yeah, the white of the paper can really give like a breath of life. Yeah, perfectly said, Sketches. Yeah. Yes. Gina loved painting this so much, she's going to go ahead and do another one with a background. Yes. All right, friends, this is what I want for you. I want you to go find your joy in whatever chaos is going on today. All right. I want you to go find the joy in the chaos. And I have so enjoyed our time together. I feel so energized, and I hope you do too. If you feel energized, hit the comment section and say, energized. I feel energized. All right. Yeah, I'm getting luminosity. I'm getting luminosity. And again, friends, if you want to see this wrapped up, if you're watching this on replay and it's not June 2024 yet, you can go ahead and sign up for a 7-day free trial. If you're watching this after June 24, you can go up and sign up for a 7-day trial on Patreon still and go find June's Joy by Design session. And you're going to watch me finish this. All right. Woo! Energized. Linda is energized. Jeanette is energized. Love it, love it, love it, love it. You're welcome, Kelly. Friends, peace out. Go find your joy. Ignore that chaos and get it. All right. Have a blast. See you next time.